What's going on, people, and welcome to a new video. This one is not actually related to the World Cup. This one has been in the back burner for a little while in the archives. I should have done it a while ago, to be honest, so it's on my shoulders, my bad. But it's here today, my current top 10 Premier League underrated players. This one was the one that won the last poll, so appreciate everyone that voted for it. In at number 10, one of the main cogs in Arsenal's system right now, top of the league, and he's a fundamental part of it, one that's, I think, really improved over the last few years. And at one point, we didn't even see him having a future at Arsenal, and that is Granit Xhaka. Obviously, previous captain for them, but he plays that role in midfield so well for them. He links up the play a lot. He can get box to box if you need him to, and he can also sit if you need him to. I know that they've got Partey and El Neni to do more of that sitting role, but he can also do it if needs be. And he chips in with his fair amount of goals now as well. So, and like, he offers a bit of a threat from like a free kick. So I think he's vastly improved from a few years ago when it didn't look like he had a future at Arsenal, when he walked off the pitch with putting his finger up to the crowd. If you'd have told me back then that he would be doing what he's doing now, still at Arsenal, I would have laughed. But fair play to him. And I think he deserves a lot of credit this season, and even last season. So, Granit Xhaka, number 10. In at number 9, Anderson from Crystal Palace. Centre-back, Denmark. I'm looking forward to seeing if he actually starts. I haven't checked out, because he definitely didn't play in the Euros. I don't remember him playing. And he's vastly improved. I remember when he originally came up to the Premier League a few years back with Fulham, and I thought he looked average, if not below average, because I remember him making quite a few mistakes and getting caught out. But the current season and the end of last season, I feel like he started really picking it up and improving vastly as well. And I think he's one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League right now. So hence why he's on the list. It's not a glamorous position, centre-back, but it's fundamental in any team. You've got to have a good centre-back partnership. And I think with Gueye at Palace, I actually quite like Gueye. But I think Anderson is the better of the two. And I think he has improved so much from what he originally was when he came into the league with Fulham. And I think he's going to feature at the World Cup with Denmark. So Anderson, number 9. Number 8, guy that stood out in a team that I've been really disappointed with, a promoted team that come up, and I thought that they would do a lot better than they're currently doing. And that is Nottingham Forest, and that is Gibbs White. I remember him when he was at Wolves, and he featured a bit here and there for Wolves. And he's always struggled with that final bit in the box, whether it's a goal or an assist. And I feel like he's starting to polish that up a bit now at Forest. And he got a goal recently for them before the World Cup break. And I think he's been one of their best players even without the goals this season. I think he's looked their main threat. And I think he's an underrated player. I think he's improved a lot. And I think he's probably a little bit too good to be in that Forest squad, if I'm honest. So, Gibbs White, number 8. Number 7, a guy that's really surprised me, and I don't think I could have pictured him, because he switched positions from basically a winger. Arsenal got rid of him, and he's now playing in the centre of midfield, being more of a combative player, but he also still has that speed and trickery at times that you would expect from a winger. Not all the time, but certain times, and that is Alex Iwobi. I think he's been fundamental in Everton this season, and at the end of last season, helping them stay up and just battling it out in that midfield position against opposition midfields. As I said, he's got a lot more combative. He's got energy and stamina for as long as you need. And I just think he's very underrated, and he's switched positions, and I think he's blossomed. And I don't think anyone could predict that he would blossom like that. And fair play to him, because I know still people give him a lot of hate, but I'm realising the improvement he's done, especially switching positions. It's not easy to do, and I think he's done it and improved. So Alex Iwobi, deserved place on the list, in at number 7. In at number 6, Rodrigo from Leeds. I think for a couple seasons at least now, he's been one of their main threats in terms of goals. He can grab assists, but in the attack in front of the pitch with Leeds, he is their go-to guy. I think he steps up a lot of the time and gets goals in games, even against big teams that you wouldn't expect them to get results from. And he will be involved in that, whether it's a win or a comeback or even a draw. He's always seems to be on the score sheet for them or getting the assists. He just seems a vital, important player for that Leeds side, and I can't go without noticing it. So that is why he's on the list. There could be a few from Leeds that you could maybe throw in there. I think Harrison's underrated. Who else they got? The new guy I like, the young kiddie Somerville, and that other guy, I don't know how you pronounce his name, the young Italian guy is like Gononto or something like that. I don't know how you pronounce it, but Leeds have got some very exciting players. I enjoy watching them play as a team. They're very exciting. And I think Rodrigo just adds to that system they have there, and he chips in with a lot of goals, and he's vital for them. So Rodrigo, and he can also captain as well. I feel like he's one of the leaders, even if you don't have the armband. He's very experienced. I remember him back in Spain back in the day for Valencia. So he's been around the block, and I still think he's at the top of his game. So Rodrigo, number 6. Number 5, a guy that I don't think ever gets anywhere near enough praise that he should. He doesn't always start, so probably is more of a bench player for a lot of the teams he's been at. But I don't think that that's rightly deserved, because I feel like his quality and his talent is good enough to start for a lot of teams in the league. He just hasn't been given that trust and opportunity, I don't feel. And that is Demarai Gray. I'm surprised that he hasn't been given a chance even in friendlies for England, because I think he offers something a bit different. He's got that flair, he's got the speed, he can score goals. I just think he's more of a baller, more of a sort of, maybe a street baller type, but you need that in your team, and I don't think England have enough of that in the international setup especially. So he's always one that I look out for and one that I like, and I do think that he's too good to be on the bench all the time. So Demarai Gray, number 5. Number 4, Joel Linton. A guy that, another one similar to Iwobi, switched his position. Originally a striker, brought into Newcastle. Wasn't working for him in terms of paying them back with goals. And then he switched to a midfield role where he's a box-to-box midfielder pretty much now. And he's got that long, muscular build that he has anyway, which helps him glide across the pitch quite easily. Even at a jog, he can like out sprint people pretty much. And he's got strength, He can score the odd goal. Probably would want him to score more goals than he does, but I feel like he switched his game up in his position, and he looks very good at what he's doing. And he's another one that's fundamental in this season for Newcastle and last season, and I think he's only getting better. So fair play to the dude. He was another one when he got signed to Newcastle originally that I thought, oh, this isn't going well, it's not going to work out, he'll be gone before no time. He's turned it around, so all credit due, Joel Linton, number 4. Number 3, a Brighton player that has been a key player for them ever since they got promoted and they got him. Ever since they come up to the league, basically. Belgian, I'm fascinated to see if he features in the World Cup, because I feel like he deserves to off his performances for the last 2 seasons at a minimum. And he chips in with his fair amount of goals and assists, and he's dangerous in and around the box. Trossard. Very underrated player in the league, especially in like fantasy terms. Like, he's a bargain, and he's consistent 8 out of 10 most weeks, if not higher. And he is their main goal scoring threat, really. So for a few years now, I've been very impressed with him, and I think he's been very consistent. I'm surprised a bigger team hasn't snatched him up. No disrespect to Brighton. I'm a big fan of their football they play, but I feel like he could be at a bigger team and fit in comfortably. So Trossard has to make the list, number 3. Number 2, a guy that I didn't know about before Arsenal bought him, and I feel like the first season at least, I thought like he was a bit quiet, and last season and this season he's just ran off with it in terms of, I think he's out and out their best player at the moment for consistency, goals, and just being a clutch player for them when they need him to be, and help them stay at the top of the table and get the goals. And that is Gabriel Martinelli. I know he came from Brazil originally when Arsenal bought him. He's obviously Brazilian. I can't remember the team he played for now, but they got him, and I'd never heard of him. And my God, what a player he's turned out to be. I love it when that happens in football, when you don't know about a player, they come in and you get to know them and fall, I don't want to sound cheesy, but fall in love with them as in the romantic nature of football that it is, and certain players. He's easily one of my favourite players in the league, and I think he's so underrated to that Arsenal team and what he offers and brings. And not only his ability on the ball, but the effort and the pressing off the ball and energy and attitude. you can just tell, and it's no mistake that he's got to where he's got to with how he is, because you don't ever hear any dramas with him off the pitch or anything either. And he's such a consistent performer for Arteta that I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet every week, and rightly so. And number one, a guy that I'm so pleased to put at number one because he's gotten a lot of stick from the press in the past, fans, and a particular Jack Grealish, who I think has been made to sit down and look like an utter tit. And that is Miguel Almiron. Another one that I didn't know about. I know he played in America when he originally came to Newcastle. What he offers to the Newcastle team in terms of energy, off the ball, on the ball, he's got underrated pace and acceleration. He's strong for someone that's built like he is. I think he's stronger than he looks. The mentality shift that he's had to do in terms of, I remember even, I don't know if it was last season or the year before, a lot of Newcastle fans were laughing at him basically and saying that he's like, they need to get rid of him, he's not good enough, he can't cut it at this level. And I think now, other than maybe Bruno Guimaraes, Callum Wilson and Trippier, he's probably your best player. And to be honest, this season, unbelievable. And he's played 15 games this year in the league, and he's got 8 goals. And from a guy that was getting all this ridicule and hate and people laughing at him and just disregarding him like he's not a footballer. Like, everyone's been made to shut up and sit down. I never hated him. I never thought he was terrible. But even I am surprised by how much he's improved and the level he's got to. But now I have full faith and confidence in him and trust that I've been putting him in my fantasy team for most of the season, because I've even heard people with that, Newcastle fans and stuff, saying that they still haven't put him into their team because they're waiting for it to end and it's just a phase. But we need to respect it. What Jack Grealish said in terms of slagging him off and stuff, that lit a fire under him that we might not have had the Almiron that we have now. So I've got to thank Jack Grealish in a way. I've never really liked Grealish like massively like everyone does. But look at it now. Grealish looks like an absolute tit. He hardly features for City. When he does, I don't think he's good enough. And for 100 million that they paid for him, it's a joke. And I think he's been performing like a joke. And I don't think he deserves to be going to the World Cup, if I'm honest with you. So I think Almiron sat him down thoroughly. And Grealish needs to shut up now because you look like an idiot. And I'm so happy for Almiron, as I said. I think he's shut up a lot of people. And it only bodes well for Newcastle going forward that they need to offer him a new contract. I'm not sure what his contract is there. Maybe he's just signed a new one, who knows, but I need to do my research on that. But easily my most underrated player this season. And even at the end of last year, he was starting to get going a bit. But this season especially, unbelievable. And not just the goals he offers, but the energy and that attack threat on the counter as well. He gets assists and everything. He's hardly ever injured as well. He's always available. And he's obviously, you can't do what he's doing if you haven't got the mindset as well and the mentality, because it wasn't long ago that people were giving him so much stick and hate, saying that he can't cut it at this level and he can't do it. Because everyone has been proven wrong. So fair play to the lad. I fully respect it. Almiron number one. Hope you enjoyed my list, guys. That is my current top 10 most underrated players in the Premier League. Let me know yours in the comments. And it's the World Cup on Sunday. We ain't got long now, guys. I hope you're excited for it. I am. There'll be a lot of football content coming over the World Cup from me, all World Cup related. Once the World Cup's finished and dealt with, we'll be back to normal proceedings and normally programmed TV schedule. I'll catch you guys soon. 2,000 subscribers by the 1st of December. What are you waiting for? I'm getting bored of asking you. Catch you soon.